Hi, I'm Mike Gibson, and this is the program Capital Ideas Life. Together, we have 2 days ahead of us in the capital. In this program, we'll tell you what to do, where to go, and how to spend a great time during these wonderful summer days in Moscow. Don't switch off.
Today on the program, bright colors and unforgettable fragrances. The Flower Jam Festival has begun in Moscow. Riding the Wave, where you can wakeboard in Moscow. How Navy Day is celebrated in the Russian capital.
At the end of July, Moscow hosts the main summer festival of the city, Flower Jam. We're now located on Manège Square, right at the heart of the Russian capital. And just look around, there's an entire little village made out of flowers. And in order to create such beauty here in Moscow, they specially bought over 100,000 plants. Flower Jam is an unusual and very popular festival featuring decorative plants and garden art of Muscovites. The theme of this year's festival is tropical summer. At this time, you can see huge, impressive floral compositions in the streets of the city. Each festival site is the result of many days of work by teams of florists and landscape designers. And the cafes here look like fairy tale houses. They even have flowers on the roof. The creators of the City of Flowers on Manège Square were inspired by the Dubai Miracle Garden, a fantastic oasis in the desert. Now that's a petunia, a flower that's native to South America. What an unusual tree. What a great place for selfies.
We're having a tremendous amount of fun. It's so beautiful here. All the Muscovites keep coming up to us in St. Petersburg, but now we've come to Moscow for a walk. The atmosphere is very friendly. It seems to me that today is a beautiful day for a trip out, walking in such a beautiful place. Everybody come on out and take a walk. Get out of your houses and wander around. Enjoy the beauty. It's very beautiful. It's bright. I like it very much.
During the festival, golden wheat and poppies grow near the Kremlin walls, numbering over 500,000. Just look at this, a real Russian cornfield in the center of Moscow. And it smells so fresh. There is a rare variety of grains, triticale, hybrid of rye and Nemchinovsky strain of wheat. According to agronomists, this crop has a future. It is enough to feed the whole world. In the meantime, this is a great location for photo shoots to capture the countryside spirit. Hanging gardens with real vines are in the center of Moscow. The exotic exhibit is currently installed on the Kuznetsky Most Street near the famous Tsum store.
We loved it so much. We didn't have a chance to Google and see what kind of landscaping exhibit it was before coming. But we went in. We took pictures of lilies and orchids. Very cool. And now we're going home feeling very fulfilled. Moscow is the biggest city in Russia, and you can see many things here. We're just passing through here. We live in Karelia, in Petrozavodsk, and we decided not to miss an opportunity and came here. We haven't been to Red Square for a long time. When we came here 13 years ago, Maxim was still in a stroller. It's Marishka's first time here. Of course we were impressed. You walk on those paving stones, and you realize that this is such a historic place. It's so resourceful. Everything is so beautiful. We're very impressed. because there's no architecture like this in our city, and we want to show it to the children, to fill them with this culture.
Summer in Moscow means that there are a huge number of farmers' markets where you can buy fresh berries and fruit. At one of these sites, our camera crew met the popular singer Sergei Zhukov. He offered his guests a taste of Karelian strawberries, which he grows on his family farm. Wow. Why did you decide to do this?
I just wanted to. They're really delicious products.
Wow! They really are very tasty. Super. Unlike weekdays, on weekends no one is in a hurry in Moscow. People go out with their families, enjoy the beautiful summer weather and the atmosphere of the city, and visit exhibitions, museums, and theatres. Moscow is the most theatrical city in Russia. There are about 200 theatres operating here, and of course, among them, the world-famous Bolshoi Theatre. In order not to get lost in the huge list of entertainments that Summer Moscow offers, the official website of the Mayor of Moscow has a section called Playbill. And this is the official guide to all the entertainment taking place in the Russian capital. The list of ideas for how to have fun and a rewarding weekend in Moscow is impressive. Here you can find schedules of plays, concerts, events for children, various masterclasses, sightseeing tours and gastronomic festivals, or, for example, buy a ticket to a museum. Our crew took advantage of just such a service and bought tickets to the museum of one of the most popular Russian writers. In this building on the Garden Ring is located the famous and bad apartment in which lived the famous Russian writer Mikhail Bulgakov. Let's go and take a look. The famous apartment number 50, described in the novel The Master and Margarita, is located via the 6th entrance on the 5th floor. Graffiti on the walls with text and plots from the book started appearing here long before the museum. It's a very popular place. During a visit to the museum, visitors can learn the history of this communal apartment, which the famous Russian writer called cursed.
In one of his stories, entitled Moonshine Lake, Bulgakov gives the formula for a man's life in a communal apartment. He wrote that whoever spends at least a year and a half in the corridor of apartment number 50 is no longer surprised by anything in life. You may notice this photo here. This is Anna Goryacheva. This is Bulgakov's neighbor, who served as one of the prototypes for Annushka in The Master and Margarita. It was Bulgakov's neighbor in this communal apartment, with whom it was quite difficult to find a common language.
When I first came to Russia, it was 30 years ago. I also lived in a Kommunalka apartment in St. Petersburg, and the atmosphere here is exactly as I remember it. Apartment number 50 was Bulgakov's first Moscow dwelling. Here, with his first wife, the writer lived for 3 years. The image of this apartment will then appear in many of Bulgakov's works.
Here we have a collection of furniture. It's unique in that it actually belonged to Bulgakov himself. Here are these 2 armchairs, a wall cabinet, a nun closet, a standing mirror, a closet, and the most central object is just the desk behind which Bulgakov would work from 1934. Here he would write his novel The Master and Margarita by hand, a dead man's memoir, and many other works.
I see a lot of interesting posters. What are they?
The thing is that in the corridor there are posters on the first experience of Soviet cinema's take on Bulgakov's work. Here you can see posters related to the film adaptation of Gogol's poem Dead Souls. Only it's not really Gogol. This is a dramatization that Bulgakov based on this poem created for the artist's theater. And then it became the basis for the screen version.
Hello? Oh no, Mikhail Bulgakov isn't home. Bye-bye. The Bulgakov Museum is very popular, and there are always a lot of visitors. On weekends, there are dozens of groups and individual excursions. So it is better to buy tickets in advance.
I'm impressed by the interiors so far. Some of the details are so old. They're from a completely different era. They have a life of their own that take you back in time, to the time of Bulgakov. They let you get to know the writer's personality more deeply. So far, we have only visited a couple of rooms and learned about the family, that there were brothers, the wheres and hows. For now, we are just absorbing the setting, and then we will move on. We just decided to come and visit. I just really like to walk around Moscow and see museums and whatever exhibitions are on. We got tickets on the site mos.ru, and there are a number of meaningful excursions. It says what kind of tours are running and what's on them. It's very convenient for the average visitor, a very convenient service. I just adore The Master and Margarita. I really wanted to get into the atmosphere of this terrible apartment. There's a lot of interesting stuff here. There's a lot of interactivity. You can look and walk around. You can even touch things. The atmosphere is there. It's very good. I decided to read a couple of his works, particularly The Master and Margarita, and decided that I had to visit the place where he lived, where it was all created, and where all the events that are described in the novel took place.
Visiting the Bulgakov Museum, you can continue to learn about the history of Moscow and its inhabitants. On summer weekends, walking tours of the city are especially popular. They take different routes depending on the theme of the trip.
The Kremlin waterfront is being developed all at once. Land is being acquired, estates are growing, large houses, then the palaces.
Our film crew joined one of these educational walks. It was led by Svetlana Kilina, the creator of the excursion project Moscow at Heart.
At the moment, we have 121 itineraries. There are walking tours. In the summer, on the streets, there are tours with visits to different iconic Moscow sites, such as Stalin's skyscrapers, universities, and historical sites and their interiors. This is always in great demand.
Today, Svetlana is giving a 2-hour tour of one of Moscow's oldest neighborhoods, Zamoskvorechye.
Zamoskvorechye is amazing. It's the kind of neighborhood where every turn is a new story. There are an unbelievable number of churches, old historical buildings. These places can be traced back to the 14th century. So, of course, the history is long and rich.
On the well-preserved streets of historic Moscow, you can walk for hours and discover something new every time. Old churches, houses, fountains and manors amaze Muscovites with their diversity and unusual architecture. The central tourist attraction in Zamoskvorechye is Kadashovskaya settlement. This monument to medieval Moscow is one of the oldest and largest communities in the city. Despite its 5-century-long history, this district has nearly completely preserved its original ancient layout. In the center of Kadashovskaya settlement is the jewel of Zamoskvorechye, the Church of the Resurrection, built in the 17th century. This is a fantastic place with a very rich history. You really have to come and check it out.
Svetlana always describes the city with such love, and it's so inspiring to walk around the city with her. Of course, I really liked the observation tower and the cathedral and how the history of the area played out in a new way. I liked it very much. Very interesting, very educational. So much to discover. Buildings, houses, cathedrals. We pass by these unique things every day, and we don't notice so many of the elements, little things, and incredible things that you just can't see on your own. And it all holds an amazing story, an amazing energy. And I think it's a sin to live in this city and not know anything about it. I loved it. It's very interesting. Even now, you get distracted, and you're afraid of missing something. It's very intense, very interesting. I like short excursions, for example, to Suzdal and other places like it, day trips, when there's a lot of information, interesting places, and not too tiring. That's the kind of thing I'm interested in, encompassing. The excursion seems to be short, but there's enough information.
If you still want some excitement or just feeling a bit tired, you can always rent a bicycle or even try a scooter and ride throughout the streets of Moscow. Using the convenient Moscow public transport system to travel around the city is also not a bad idea. Very convenient. You can pay your fare with a bank card. From the window of the electric bus, you can see all the touristy parts of Moscow, driving through its ancient streets and squares. So sit comfortably at the window and enjoy the architecture and grandeur of this beautiful summer city. It's very convenient taking public transportation in Moscow. Every last Sunday in July, Moscow and all of Russia celebrates Navy Day. At this time, there are many festival events taking place all around the city. From the early morning, Navy veterans and active duty sailors gather together in every corner of Moscow to celebrate their official holiday. One of the favorite and traditional mating places is Gorky Park.
I've always dreamed of celebrating in Moscow, in Gorky Park.
Especially here.
Or in St. Petersburg, or Sevastopol. These are the three iconic places. Today I've come to Gorky Park for the first time, which I'm very happy about.
To celebrate their official holiday, sailors traditionally meet at Moscow's parks, squares, and fountains. Many come here with their families. Could you tell me, please, where did you serve?
I served in the Pacific Fleet from 1986 to 1989.
Do you celebrate this day every year?
Yes, I have a tradition. What I'm wearing now is the uniform I came out of the military service with. Yep, this uniform's 35 years old. This is my ship's flag, from the big anti-submarine ship Admiral Spiridonov. This year was the first time I've come to Gorky Park with my wife. But I hoist the flag at my dacha. I have a ship's bell, and I ring it.
Excellent.
I put on my full uniform with my insignia, with badges for a combat voyage. The Navy is distinguished, as it was in the USSR. So my wife and I, and my friends,
Wonderful.
have been celebrating Navy Day for years.
Wonderful. In Gorky Park, anyone can feel a bit like a sailor.
Riverboat trips in the center of the capital.
Muscovites really love water excursions on river trams. Look how many people there are here. It's really popular.
Moscow is a planet. It's a big star to be explored. Here are those who want to come and get the most out of Moscow. They need to get ready for it.
Hot summer weekends are the best time in Moscow for walks in the park and for relaxing in the fresh air. It's so nice sitting on the embankment with a delicious cup of coffee. The Museum Art Park is very popular with Muscovites. This is not just a place for walks and recreation, but also the largest open-air sculpture museum in Russia. Here is also one of the buildings of the famous Tretyakov Gallery. This is one of the most popular fountains in Moscow and is equally loved by both adults and children. Woo! Ah! I'm absolutely soaked! And now we're going to go for a trip on the open water. So we've arrived in Strogino. This is a beautiful place to learn how to wake surf. I'm off to get changed. This district in the northwest of the city is considered one of the most sporty. The Moskva River flows through here, and that is why water sports are especially popular here. In the Strogino floodplain, beginners learn to ride a wakeboard, and experienced athletes train here as well.
We held stages of the World Championships. All the top riders came, American, European. It's such a big surfing family. So, as surprising as it may be, Russia is one of the most developed countries when it comes to wakeboarding.
I've never tried wake surfing. I'm a bit worried, but I will be helped by my instructor, Ilya.
It's going to be great, you'll see.
Tell me please, what's this here?
Here we have a surfboard, just like surfing on the ocean. The board, it has big fins on the bottom. We're going to try it on the river today.
What's the most important thing?
The most important thing is to relax and feel yourself on the water, to connect with it, to feel the oneness, and then everything will work out. All right, shall we give it a try?
Yes, let's try it. Great. Ilya will be the first to get up on the board to show us how to ride it properly. And then I, following the instructor, will have to repeat everything. The boat, followed by the surf, forms the necessary wave for riding.
The boat has a special device that switches the wave from right to left. It makes it bigger or smaller. Generally speaking, adjusting the wave is a very complex art form for the rider.
First, the instructor helps me practice the basic techniques of riding while still in the boat.
1, 2, 3, now get up.
After the first instructions are given and basic riding techniques are practiced, I'm ready to go out on the open water and ride a wakeboard for the first time in my life.
Straighten your arms, Mike. Straighten them out. Too late. Straighten your arms. Look at the shoreline. Straighten your arms. Come on, you got it. All right. All right. Way to go, Mike.
Despite some difficulties that beginners usually encounter, I managed to conquer unruly waves and surf in one of the most picturesque corners of Moscow.
You did a great job. You got it.
Thank you.
That's great.
It's because of a good instructor.
That's a good point. And the smile.
And the smile.
And next time we go without the tether.
Good. Yes, yes.
Do we have a deal?
Next time, I understand.
Congratulations. Very cool.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a very interesting and pleasant weekend. As you can see, it's absolutely not necessary to go to the seaside to have a good rest. You can relax in the best city on earth. This is Mike Gibson and Capital Ideas Life. See you in the next program. Bye.